It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today as we start a brand new week on the channel. You have arrived on a Monday, and that means it's a Metal Monday. I have my Metal Makes Mondays Better shirt on, and I am ready for some classic metal tunes today. Y'all, we're listening to some Judas Priest, and I'm happy that you are here. So, it's not lost on me that with all of our Metal Monday episodes over the years, we've only heard from Judas Priest 9 times on the channel. Underrepresentation. Well, we have heard some really great songs in those 9 episodes. We've heard Painkiller. We've heard You've Got Another Thing Coming, Victim of Changes, which is on this record that we're going to hear today, Breaking the Law, Jawbreaker, Panic Attack, but we've never, before today, started to feature an entire album by Judas Priest. And we are indeed going to be listening to one of their classic albums. It is Sad Wings of Destiny, the band's second album, which recently celebrated its 50th anniversary as an album. And, you know, as I was looking through and trying to figure out what I wanted to do today, I realized it's been a little bit of time since we featured an album. I'll be at side 1 today and side 2 next week, but it's been a while since we featured a full album on Metal Mondays. And I thought, who should we go to? And I was reminded, you still got quite a bit of Judas Priest out there, and you've never heard one of their albums. So I'm really excited to get to side 1 of Sad Wings of Destiny today. Ripper Deceiver is on this side of the album. It was actually the very first music by Judas Priest that I heard on the channel. That was in November of 2021. And as I mentioned before, we have heard Victim of Changes before as well. That starts the album. We heard that on the channel in February of 2024. And that's about it, friends. As far as I know, those are the only 2 songs out of 9 on this record that I have previously heard. And it's been so long since I've heard them that I'm still not very familiar with them at all. So let's get to it, y'all. We need to listen to some metal music today. And I am just pleased to dive into some Judas Priest. We got Rob Halford on vocals, KK Downing is on guitars, Glenn Tipton is on guitars and some keyboards, Ian Hill is on the bass, and Alan Moore is on the drums. As we start here, I have this set to go all through side 1 without stopping. If we decide that we need to, we will, but I just want to listen to the side of the album, as y'all might have done about 50 years ago, and enjoy ourselves, okay? We start with a little song called Victim of Changes, and it's really not a little song at all. It's the longest song on the album, and one that I have heard, but it has been a while. We are telling the story of a woman whose drinking issues lead her to losing her man to another woman. And this was actually adapted into one longer song from 2 shorter songs that they had called Whiskey Woman and Red Light Lady. Put it together and you get Victim of Changes. So let's start it off, y'all. This is side 1 from Sad Wings of Destiny. Here we go. Yeah, really effective downward riff to get us into the groove. Just a solid E minor pentatonic riff. got that heavy riff that reminds me of classic Black Sabbath as well. Burn it down. Just a cool riff. They go up to the 4. Time to turn it up, y'all. I love the stereo effect as well. No one cares that you're getting old. Right, goes to the 4 chord. Takes another drink or two. Things look better after that. That tends to happen. Okay. This might be the remnants of the other song. It's a whole different idea. La do te. So we're still based on E. But we're making use of that Dorian 6 instead of the minor 6. That's KK on the solo. Big bass tone. It's all working together. I like the dual guitars. See, I don't remember this at all, y'all. It's what happens when you hear a piece and then you don't reinforce it by listening to it again. For a couple of years, you just don't remember it, especially when I've listened to all this stuff in the interim. So it's good to come back to these. Yeah. When she was fine. It's like a coffee house version of the original riff. When she was mine, she was mine. Wow. Changes come over her body. She doesn't see me anymore. Now it kind of reminds me of Led Zeppelin. Not complaining at all. Now changes come over her body. She doesn't see me anymore. Changes. Victim of changes. Tell us about it, Rob. That's incredible. It's not speed metal, but boy, that's heavy. No. Wow. That's a high F sharp. Holy crap. It's not stopping. We're right into the Ripper. Wow. They don't let you even rest.
When there's darkness and fun. When you least expect me, and you turn your back, I'll attack.
I'll attack. We're hearing from Jack the Ripper himself. First person lyrics.
Through shadows by the wall. I laugh when I'm creeping. But you won't hear me at all. Turn your back on the Ripper. You'll soon shake with fear, then never knowing if I'm near. I'm sly and I'm shameless.
More intimate style of vocal, more theatrical style of vocal here.
Or if you like, Jack the Knight.
Jack the Knight. Sounds like 5 to 1. Yeah, they're in A. Wow. So far, I really like the textural differences that they're giving us. Heavy sounds, intimate vocals, high crazy vocals, guitar riffs.
You'll probably meet underneath the gas lamp where the air's cold and damp. I'm a nasty surprise. I'm a devil in disguise.
That's a cool chord. Dum dum all over. Dum dum.
Oh, hear my warning. Never turn your back on the Ripper. The Ripper.
Did they drop a beat or two in that meter, in that little refrain? I'll have to listen to it again. Whoa! That was the Ripper. I think he just ripped one. Okay. Dreamer Deceiver. It's going to be great to come back to this one. Another first-person lyric. Yeah, E minor. So this time our narrator is a drug user.
Asked us if we were happy.
Asked if we were happy. We said we didn't know.
Said mountains and up we go. We follow the dream.
I hear a little bit of Metallica in this too. Just amazing. And again, Rob's adapted. He's so vocally talented. Slightly darker vocal color. His vowels are taller. And it's a little bit more of a showcase of classical technique. So he seems to be enjoying his high. All the tensions that hurt us in the past just vanish in thin air. I like the relatively basic arrangement of this. Look at him go! We are lost above, floating way up high. If you think you can find a way, you can surely try. He's so high that he just decided to sing the whole damn verse up the octave. Glenn is going to play a solo. With this kind of bluesy expression in these three chords in E minor, it's bringing me a little bit of Iron Maiden vibes too. I like this. It's heavy metal music that doesn't assault me. It just kind of takes over. And that's okay. I can't even think about trying to match whatever tone he's trying to do. And then he goes even higher. major. That's a high G sharp if you're counting at home. And we're right into Deceiver to finish out side 1. Same E as tonic. At what cost? So we're no longer living in the fantasy. We're no longer living in that temporary high. We're waking up from it. Pop that octave, Rob. So flat 7. Flat 7. 3, 4, 5, 1. 5. So our narrator feels deceived by the dreamer. Sounds miffed about it. Wow. Is that how they're going to finish the side? I don't think they paid their cable bill because the electric guitars just went shunk and it went to an acoustic and played us out for about 20 seconds. If you want to find us in a hurry, let me tell you, don't you worry. I can't say here today, we shall stay forever. And then we'll play you out. That's a cool side of music, y'all. That's a really cool side. Classic, heavy metal. It's not trying to be anything other than what it is. A hard rock album by a hard rock band. I mean, they've got their own flair and their own color. The dual lead guitars getting the slightly different flair from KK's solos versus Glenn's, the great riffs, and the like, those heavy guitar riffs were still happening even as Rob was singing a different melody up there. It's important to have dual or triple or quadruple melodic interest, to have those different layers of your piece in the ending result. I mean, the most basic way that we tend to have two different melodic ideas happening in a song is the melodic line and the bass line. We tend to think of the lowest sounds we hear as some sort of edge melodically left to right. As we hear the lowest sound, we hear a bass, we hear a melody. The highest thing that we hear tends to be interpreted by our ears as melodic, as the edge of that sound. And we can almost draw a line connecting those undulations. And when those two things, the highest sound we hear, the lowest sound we hear, the melody and the bass, when those two things really act in concert together and work off of each other and lift each other up. It's it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's what really drives the emotion of and the effect, the efficient nature of how they help move us, with these pieces. So, gosh, wouldn't it be great to just listen to side two right now? I know I could, and I probably should, but I'm going to wait till next week. But before we leave today, I want to talk about this a little bit. As I was reading about the band's early years, I was struck by just how long it took them to really get going. When I just do a song here or there, I might just read into the song and do that. When I tend to do albums, I tend to look more into the background of where they were in their career, at least at that time. This is their second album. They're pretty early in their career. So I was just looking and I'm like, wow, this is their second album. It didn't come out till 76. And they formed in 1969 in Birmingham, England, also where Black Sabbath had formed the previous year. So Black Sabbath and Judas Priest are from the same town in England. Amazing. I'm sure there's more too. They struggled through several lineup changes early on, and they ended up not releasing their first album, which is called Rock-a-Rolla, until 1974. So it took them 5 years to get their first album released. And even then, they weren't too thrilled with it, from what I read. Their finances were tight on both of their first couple of albums. I read that they only had about £2,000 of budget for each of their first two albums, and that several of the guys in the band, even while going through the recording process, were having to supplement their own incomes with part-time work. So they were still really hoofing it and trying to make it work as a band. And this album, I think in a lot of fans' minds, it really solidifies. Sometimes it's the first album, sometimes it's a different one. For them, it seems like it's the second album that everything kind of comes together. And it still was relatively slow out of the gate with regard to sales. They were competing with the rise of punk music. There were some other really solid metal releases that year from Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. The Scorpions were out with music that year. But in the long run, I think it was this album that really solidified the band's sound, their image, the way that the fans would grow to understand what their ethos was about. And they've continued to include songs from this album in their live sets for the majority, if not all, of their career. And the fans continue to be thankful for that. So 50 years later, Sad Wings of Destiny still sounds like a really fresh and great hard rocking album, at least from what I've heard so far on side one. So stay with me as we come back next Monday for side two. But for today, my friends, it's been my pleasure to listen to all of side one from this very classic metal album from Judas Priest. Thanks for being with me. We'll see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.